All right, you guys are live.
All right, listen to the Bro Show. Today's bros are Christian, Alan, and Paul, and I'm so happy to see your ugly mugs.
It's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a while, huh? Yeah.
it has.
Yeah. You look like you've lost some weight, man. What's going on?
I have, actually. I dropped probably 7 pounds from maybe the last time we talked, which was, it hasn't been
Dude,
too
I
long.
dropped 7 pounds taking a nice dump.
Well, no, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it took you 4 weeks to pass a gigantic dump. Jesus
No,
Christ,
for
man.
me, it
More
was,
fiber.
no, usually I hang around about 167 to 168, around there. But now I'm around,
So specific.
yeah, but now I'm around like 162. Yeah, 160 to 162.
Man, I fluctuate 5 pounds a day. Like
Oh,
I can,
no, I
I can
don't.
jump between
I don't-
5 pounds within a day.
I don't. I think it would. Yeah, for now, not for me. I don't think. I probably. Well, when I joined the Navy, I was like 135,
Oh my god.
which was eons ago.
Yeah, that
When I left the Navy, I was like probably around 155, 160, and I
jellyfish.
guess I've just gained like a pound a year since then.
Yeah, like have you ever weighed yourself before taking a leak and then weighed yourself right after?
No, you ever done it during?
No.
Neither have I. I don't know.
should. That is a good idea. That is a great idea. But you want to know something about about where I live?
Okay.
I don't own a scale.
Really? That's surprising.
I do not.
Yeah.
Why would I own a scale? Like I know it's if I feel like shit, I eat better. If I don't feel like shit, I eat like shit.
Oh, like, well, I guess for me, like, yeah, okay. For me, the scale has never been about, like, my morale. It's just about tracking how much I weigh. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes sense. The original Fitbit.
Yeah, I guess so. The Fitbit.
The Fitbit.
But yeah, you should try it. You should try to
Oh, my God.
stand on the scale while you're peeing and see if the material balance matches.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you're like, did I really just pee a gallon? That was 8 pounds. That was 8 pounds.
Okay, so you want to fill me in on material balance?
It's like, let's say, if you have, what's a real world analogy? Okay, let's say an actual peeing. Let's say you're peeing into like something else that's on another scale. Like, okay, if that scale goes up by 14 grams, then the scale you're standing on should have dropped by 14 grams. Should have,
like 100% of the time, it's never like 100% 1-to-1 ratio.
yeah, like
There's
other
some
stuff
kind of
is other
loss.
stuff factors in. So from like an engineering standpoint, like temperatures, pressures, chemical reactions, composites.
There's never a 100% transfer. It's always there's something lost.
Yeah.
So like by me peeing, like if I was literally standing on a scale and peeing into a bucket that was on a scale, it should literally be 100%. It's gonna be like 99.
Yeah, like if you put the bucket, if you like start holding the bucket, it should equal whatever it weighed before, but it doesn't.
That's fucked up. You're peeing in a bucket you're holding.
Paul, I would say you should be worried more about more things than just your weight at that point. If you're peeing into a bucket on a
I don't
scale,
think you need to worry about material balance anymore. You got bigger problems.
you got bigger fish to fry.
So anyway, so welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome to the show, Alan.
Welcome to the
Yeah.
show. So
Glad you could make it.
I know I've been off. So I've been off the grid for a little bit. I don't know what's been happening with you guys since the last time you guys were on the show. Anything?
No, I think that last time, really, we had the California trip.
Oh, I want to hear about the trip.
So,
Yeah.
after the California trip, we probably have not done
We won.
as regular of recordings.
We did one. Since
Yeah.
California.
And then that was it.
Okay.
So I think we're all just kind of like getting our sea legs. Is that right? Back. So
Yeah, because I saw some messages that there were some episodes for me to edit, but they weren't the regular weekly that we did last year, and you know, and then like some of the people that were on the show were different. So yeah. So how was the trip? You know, I missed the trip. I wish I was there.
Oh,
but it sounded like it was kind of short.
So I was
but
trying
eventful.
to. Yeah, no, it was good. I'll say my piece, and then I'll try my best to kind of be a fly on the wall for you guys because I'm interested to hear you guys talk. It might just be a bunch of silence because everybody just wants to hear everybody else talk. But my trip was the last part was really good because that's when I got to do the things I wanted to do, which was we did this joint birthday party with my two kids and we pinned a party in between both their birthdays. And then Paul had a chance to come out as well. And his wife also had a chance to come out, which for me was like, I mean, Paul, you're cool, but man, having your wife out, real treat.
Yeah, no,
because
she never gets to come out. So it's like,
exactly. It's
good that she actually got to see everybody. Apparently I scared the living shit out of Christian's kids.
That was not that wasn't even on purpose.
That was accident.
You weren't even.
That was an accident.
Yeah, no wonder you run a Halloween store. This is what you do. You just kind of.
So Alan, whose daughter was that? The half white, half Asian girl.
Yeah, that's
a little bit older.
That's my niece.
Her niece.
Yeah, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ryan's
cousin was like picking up Ryan, right? Like picking him up with two arms, and I came over and I'm like, hey, let's just be funny, and I'm gonna grab Ryan by the leg and just hold him upside down. Yeah, he wasn't expecting that
from anybody, let alone
I think he thought he was like he thought that his cousin was picking him up. He didn't know I was picking him up, and the next thing he knew, he's staring her in the face upside down. And he kind of, understandably, was
started crying.
Startled.
Yeah.
And put a real quick damper on the party.
Well, it's funny. The thing is, me and my wife seeing that happen, our natural reaction for some reason, we start busting up laughing because we know like he's gonna be fine. Like Paul was literally like
frozen,
a bull in a china shop moment, and then Paul's wife has she's just shaking her head in disapproval, and then we're like, our kid's gonna be fine, and we get this moment now where we see Paul. Usually, his demeanor is pretty confident and put together, and he was pretty terrified.
Because I'm like, because it's not like this is one of those deeply seated. This is a cry, like he
yeah, but it's not the first time that you scared a kid either. Because I remember when you were in Houston, you might have been the first time you met our daughter Charlene. I don't know, but she was pretty young, like to the young enough to where she probably doesn't remember seeing you at that time. But you had met her, and then we were picking her up. Like I was kind of picking her up, and then I was like putting her above my head, like as high as I could reach, which is not as high as you could reach. So I was putting her as high as I could reach. She's giggling, and then you did it. Well, when you did it in the house we're living in now, the ceilings are only like 8 foot high. So you basically pinned her against the ceiling.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. I literally put my hand on her chest and like pinned her on the ceiling. Like, there you go.
And then she wasn't giggling anymore. She was like it was like she was at the she was like at the top of a roller coaster. Like, oh, we're about to get down the roller coaster, and we're like, oh, okay, maybe.
And I was like, I'm gonna put you down now.
I mean, essentially, you were doing the same thing that I was doing. You just had a much longer reach.
Yeah, she wasn't expecting to touch the ceiling. That, and then she gave you that look like, why am I so far away from my dad? Like,
yeah. Like, well, and also, think about, like, for the height of, let's say, a 2-year-old, the ceiling, an 8-foot ceiling might as well be 30 feet in the air from that perspective. So for her back to be touching it, maybe that was a little, like, I didn't realize I was afraid of heights until now,
Yeah, like, oh, there's the hard limit. That's like the hard stop, right? I mean,
even us, like,
and I'm on it.
Even like us, when you're at like you see a building or something, and you're like, oh, there's like 3 or 4 floors up. There's a balcony. Well, now if you go up to the top of the balcony and you look down, you're like, man, this kind of
it's a lot higher.
Like, yeah, so that's probably what she thought when her back was pinned to the ceiling.
Alan, you know something about looking down on balconies?
Oh yeah. Hey man, why we gotta bring up old stuff?
Oh no.
Paul, did you know that did follow that story, my infamous jumping off the balcony story?
No, I don't.
Of all the weird, because that's usually one that my dad tells to everybody. But when we were like 10, do you remember we used to live in a house that had a pool table on the upstairs loft?
Yeah,
and then you could see downstairs like the TV and like the mini bar area and stuff. And
yeah.
So when I was around 10, a friend came over, and we were up there like just like drinking juice or something on like looking down at the TV. And the friend was like, "Hey, if like your parents weren't here, I would totally jump." Like, yeah, I guess I would too. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be cool, right? Well, then another time we went over and no one was there, and so then like hesitant, but we were kind of like, we're not going to get this opportunity again. So we laid out like some pillows as if that was going to cushion our fall.
Cartoon shit. Okay.
I'm surprised. Yeah, we didn't have like an Acme springboard or something.
I was gonna say, did you have an anvil too, or what? Like,
so we're so that ceiling, or from the upstairs to the bottom, I think it's probably like 10 feet, right? And so first we climb over the rail, and then it looks higher when you're on the other side of the rail. And then, so I believe I went first, but I didn't jump from the top. Like I was like hanging off of it, as if I like an action movie when you're just like trying to save yourself. So I was like, my feet were dangling off of it. So my original jump wasn't 10 feet. My original jump was probably like 7 feet. Yeah, 6
okay.
6. You know, like however tall I was, 5 or 6 feet.
Say like,
yeah,
okay,
half the distance.
Yeah.
So I jumped down. He jumped down. Then it's like, dude, let's do it again. So then we ran up there. Well, now we're like, every time we do it, we're like less and less fearful of it, and so now we're jumping from the like feet on the carpet to feet on the bottom floor.
This is WrestleMania, like
off the top turnbuckle,
off the top rope.
So then
the top rope too. Jesus Christ!
So there's a twist to the story. So when it's just me and this one other friend.
Ankle.
Well, yeah. So don't get ahead of me. So when it's just me and this other friend. We do it like 3 or 4 times, and then we're like, all right, well, let's stop, because either we're gonna get in trouble, and also it's kind of getting boring because it's just 2 of us. We're doing this, okay, we've done it, fun. Well, then like another time we go over with a third friend. Well, this third friend is kind of heavy, and so again, parents aren't home.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
Yeah. So parents aren't home. So like we try to, a friend tries it. And one time he doesn't land properly. Like for the jiu-jitsu guys that are listening, he doesn't break fall when he does this landing. He breaks something.
Yeah.
So then.
Yeah. So it's like instead of break falling.
So then we're like, dude, well, we got to get you out of here. He's like, I can't move. I can't. Not only can I not walk to get out of here, we can't move. And so we're like. So we're just like 3 10-year-olds just sweating bits, and I'm like, dude, I gotta call my dad. Like, we gotta do something. We don't know what to do. And then so I call his work. The receptionist answered, "Hello, how may I help you?" "Oh yeah, is Dan there, please?" Yes, 1 second. I'm like, yeah, can you tell him it's really important, please? Is his son. So then the receptionist.
Oh
is
yeah,
gone.
way to pour some gasoline on that fire.
So,
hey, can you tell him? I know we're home alone as 10-year-olds, but hey, this is his son, and it's really important. Did you turn to like Will Ferrell at that moment? Like...
So usually, let's say my dad was like just at his desk. Usually he picks up the phone like within the first 10 or 20 seconds, right? Well, this lady's gone, and there's silence for maybe 3 minutes. Like, so in my mind, she had to like interrupt him out of a meeting or something. Like, oh, excuse me, Dan, your son's on the phone. I'm sorry to interrupt, but your son's on the phone, and he said it's urgent. Something like that. I don't know what happened, right? But she's gone for an eternity, right? So then finally, you hear the clicking of the phone, right? And then my dad doesn't say hi. He's like, "It's been good."
I can totally picture your dad saying that
too. So and the tone, and now as an adult, as a father, looking back at what he might have been experiencing at that time, his tone was part curiosity. Part like
concerned father,
nervous, like yeah, concerned father, but it was also curiosity, and it was also like, this will be humorous later on, like let's see where this goes type of thing. So So then, like, yeah, so we had made this, again, 3 dumb 10-year-olds made up this crap story that he fell off the porch when they were just walking me home, and then because he fell and snapped his ankle, we dragged him into the house until we could get some help. Like, which is the story that we made up. And we're like, hey, Dad.
That's the worst. That's the worst story.
It's like we don't want no witnesses.
Yeah,
we don't want no witnesses. So
because of course we couldn't
drag the body in.
He's hurt, injured. When we're about to get sued or whatever, and it's our fault. We had to tell him that it was an accident, as if that was going to help. Again, think of that being 10 years old.
Yeah.
So then he's like, leave him there. I'm on my way home. I'm gonna call your mom. Maybe you might want to tell him to call his parents or something. So all 3 of us are like, all right, I think he's cool. Like, he probably doesn't
We're in the clear.
suspect anything. So then he goes. So then I guess he calls my mom. The kid that has the broken ankle he's calling his parents. So four parents are coming. The other kid, he's basically just kind of scot-free. Like, he's just like, all right, it's not my house. I'm not the one that's hurt. I guess I'll just hang out just to see where the show goes. But
he's probably like, yo, guys, I told you this is a terrible idea.
He's like, when I tried this shit, that didn't happen. But fat fuck over here. Oh my god.
Yeah, so then the parents come in, right? They assess the situation. He's laid out nowhere near the front door, right? You remember the layout of the house. I mean, it's toward the back of the house. So then, like, the parents are kind of looking at each other, and I'm pretty sure no one believes our story. But that doesn't matter. What matters now is getting the kids some help, right? So then a 911 call, just the conventional 911 from a landline. And they're like, and so the 911 call, yeah, we got a kid with a broken leg, and then they're like, all right, I guess they know the address, it's a landline. And so while we're waiting, then each of the parents are like, so what happened, man? And so we all have this story that we think is like bulletproof, and it's totally not, right? They can just cut through like, and then they all pull us like in like different parts of they ask us privately, they ask us like all together, and we're all kind of nervous. Yeah. And so then the paramedics came, and then they had to write a statement, right? And then they're asking the parents like, okay, who's the owner of the house? Whose parent are you? Okay, what happened? And so then all the parents are like, well, according to the kids, this kid was walking home. This kid was walking and tripped over this thing. So then the paramedic is basically just writing the statement like, okay. So now another person that probably doesn't believe the 10-year-olds, right? Well, he just has to write what the statement is. He just, okay, witness says that this happened, right? So then the kid gets hauled off to the hospital, like through the ambulance. The parents go with him. And then for me, the worst part, now that they're gone, I'm having to be like, crap. Now I got to tell them the truth, or they're going to find out the truth or something, right? Like it's not like crisis averted once they're gone. So it gets blurry as far as how the truth comes out, but eventually it comes out, and in a very painful way. Like just a lot of what we're doing. I can't trust you. Like they took away my house key for a year, because like the routine back then was just walk home from school and then just do your homework or eat snack or whatever until mom and dad get home. Well, now it was like hang out in the front of the school until somebody comes to get you because you're an idiot. So, yeah. So,
wow, you got grounded from your own home.
Yeah, no kidding. It wasn't.
They're like, you're grounded. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, it wasn't go to your room. It was get out.
Go to school. And
then part 2 was okay, get on the phone right now and call the parents of that other kid and tell them what happened. Like, tell the truth. So that was a very not fun phone call, but the parents weren't home because they were at the hospital probably.
Yeah. How did Mark take that, by the way?
So what's that?
No, just kidding. I was like,
what'd you say?
How did Mark take that? I'm like, is it someone? I was like, is it someone you still talk to? Or, like, but yeah.
No. Yeah. So we ended up going to the hospital the next day. Like my mom took me to the hospital the next day. We were gonna.
What was that kid's name, by the way?
We're gonna do this?
No, just the first. Sorry,
you guys gotta be kidding me.
Just the first name, dude.
Man. That's a bad idea. You're right.
I spent all year last year editing.
Fat fuck friend. Triple F. Fat
we're
fuck
gonna
Freddy.
take a sidebar real quick. I edited every episode of last year, and I spent so much time editing out all these freaking names you guys wanted to blurb out, and now I gotta disclose.
Yeah, that was a misstep on my part. So I'm doing terribly at this job.
This debut for this producer debut for Mr. What's his first name over here? Oh my god.
Yeah, so basically, we go to the hospital, and at first it's like, hey, so how is he? And then while we're asking how he is, the parents say, last night once we got to the hospital, the kid, he told the parents what really happened. So basically, when I was telling my parents what happened, I guess he was telling his parents what actually happened. So by the time we got to the hospital, everybody knew the truth. But
and that's the day he stopped eating Doritos. So
what is the now that I think about it, what is the weirdest punishment you've ever received from your parents?
I mean, I'll
open because you made me think of mine, and then I want to hear yours. But like, I remember like playing soccer with a little soccer, not a real soccer ball, but like with the little plush ball.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Fuck.
Go ahead.
Wait, you know this too?
I gotta hear this.
Okay, so I kicked So I kicked the ball, and obviously, it's basically like a big freaking pinball, right? Like machine that you just bouncing random shit, like could be knocked over in the house. So I end up damaging.
I'm sorry.
This, dude. If you can see Alan right now on
dying over there.
So he could probably tell the story better than I can now that I think about it, because he's so in his feelings right now. But
you want me to try it?
Yeah, go ahead. Try it? Yeah, go.
All right. So, ironically, this happened just downstairs from that pool table, second floor. Like the first floor, just below that, there was this area behind the couch where there was like a back doorway to the breakfast nook and a front doorway back to the hallway. So me and Christian, being young soccer players, we wanted to play a little indoor soccer there. The one doorway was his goal, one doorway was my goal, right? So we had this little stuffed soccer ball. We're playing soccer, one-on-one on these doorways. Well, on one side of the soccer area was the couch. On the other side, there was a little bar stool area that goes to the kitchen. So in the little gap, instead of bar stools, my dad had plants there, like little house plants. Yeah, just kind of for decoration. Well, we didn't really care that they were there. We were just playing soccer like through the house plants, to the point where we like effed up the plants. Like, because we were just like the ball would go there, and we would just kick it, like, because they were plants. We didn't know like what was damaging or not. It's not like glass that can tell you it's shattered or it's fine. It's a plant. So what is a plant that is damaged? What is it when it's pretty? We didn't know, And so he comes home, like there's probably soil on the carpet a little bit. The plant has probably a certain formation and it's deformed. He goes, "What happened here?" And we're like, we're playing soccer. And the plant's like freaking terrible. So he's pissed, right? Yeah. He's like, "What the hell?"
Because he takes pride in taking care of these plants, and they're actually, it's pretty nice having plants in the home. I'll admit, I own a home. I don't really have any real plants. Maybe I have scars.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
So these were his babies, right? So he's like, first he just yells at us, just yells like incoherently, Tasmanian devil yelling. And then once he's done with that, he's like, "You know what you guys are gonna do? You're gonna sit there, you're gonna talk to that plant, you're gonna apologize, and you're gonna make that plant realize that what you guys did was sorry." It was like the most amped up timeout you ever heard of. It wasn't just going to a corner.
Wait, so he made you talk to an inanimate object like it was a person that you offended.
We get over there, like, and this.
How are you not laughing?
No, we're not. I mean,
the entire time.
It's scary at the time. It's scary.
Because we're terrified.
We weren't laughing at all. I mean, because he wasn't. Yeah. We can't make it worse. What else is going to make us do it? We start laughing. He's going to make us bring it to bed or something, So then.
Hey, condoms now.
So first we're like, "Is he serious?" We didn't know, and he's like, "Turn around, go, talk to it." So like in the background, maybe he's talking to my mom, like, "What am I gonna do with these kids?" Or maybe he's like laughing at us, like maybe if he had a phone in his hand, he's like recording we didn't know.
He's laughing. He's putting it on. Yeah. He's putting on rope star hip hop. Like look at these idiots.
I don't know. Like
plants.
He could be talking to his buddies, like, at the water cooler the next day in the office, like, hey Dan, how'd it go? How's your weekend? It's like you'll never know what I got my kids to do.
Can you imagine if like your dad and all his friends on their breaks every day would just show each other videos of fucked up things that they would make you guys do? No. You got to see this one. He's talking to a fern. He's talking to a fern.
I don't know if it made it better or worse that we had to be there together talking to it. Like if let's say it was just one of us. It was just Christian talking to this plant. At some point, he could probably just like create a little conversation in his own head to where it's kind of a comfortable scenario. But now it's like two of us talking to this plant because our dad is about to rip our heads off. And so I remember we're like, we're sorry.
Your dad's like, well, what else are you going to say?
Yeah.
Because we didn't know.
Or it's like,
we were like justifying it to the plant. We're like, yeah, because we were playing soccer over here. And we didn't know. Like, did the plant see what happened?
Excuses.
Or did the plant just wake up and realize it was hurt?
And like, when is this going to be done? Like, what's going to be enough of a thing to be like, all right, I'm satisfied with this thing.
He didn't tell us to do this for 2 minutes. He didn't tell us do it for 2 hours. He just said do it. So we didn't know if we were going to spend the rest of the night talking to this damn plant. And so so I remember there would be like moments of silence a little bit where both of us ran out of stuff to say, but then we would just have to think of just.
And then you look at your dad.
No, I don't know about you, Christian. I didn't look up. Like I was just looking at the plant. I was kind of too scared to look around.
No.
And so, yeah, but then when there were these dead spots, then one of us would just come up with something retarded like, yeah, so I guess tomorrow we'll check on you. Like,
yeah, a buddy of ours actually broke his leg like not too far from here. And we called 911 for him, actually.
Like the historical lesson of, hey, I know you can't see beyond this couch, but here's what's been going on for years beyond this couch.
Was this how close was this in relationship to your base
to the
jumping?
ankle thing? I don't know.
10, 15 feet?
No. I think he means time wise.
No,
yeah, I don't think we put two and two together really.
Yeah,
I know Christian didn't because.
Was this before or after? This before or after?
Well, it was within. Let's put it like this. It was within a year's time frame.
Within the same 12 months.
Oh yeah, your dad. That's probably your dad. Your dad doing that to you guys is him like not knowing what to do with you guys. Like he's like, God damn, these fuckers are jumping off the goddamn balcony, and now they're smashing the plants. Fucking, talk to the fucking plants. Talk to the plants.
I got these two sociopath sons that don't even realize what punishment they're supposed to do. These kids.
They just lied to us about tripping on a balcony, and now they're playing soccer in the house. Like,
and our pets' heads are falling off and everything.
And then, dude, this last little bit, I don't know how he didn't start laughing, but he's still like, so he did end it at some point, right? We probably talked to this plant for like maybe 10 minutes, I guess. I don't know, something like that, right, Christian?
Yeah, it seemed like forever, but yeah, I mean,
yeah. But then he called us over. He's like, "Come here, both of you, come here." So then we went over, and he goes, "So what was the talk like?" So now we're having to like. What was the talk like? Like
what?
Like what? He wants to know what the conversation was like.
Was the plant mad?
So now we're having to describe this ridiculous conversation to our dad. So I don't know how he didn't start laughing, but he didn't, And so I remember saying, so Christian are both like, do you want to go first? Or... So he I remember at some point in our discussion I said something like yeah, so we're really sorry, and the plant seemed to accept our apology.
Oh my god.
And then there was some kind of response.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't any any debate really going on. Yeah. That was weird.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if you remember. Well, so in ninth grade we had biology class, and there's a lesson on like photosynthesis and how like carbon monoxide, is what it needs, and like it gives out like oxygen, right? And the example they give is like, yeah, so what you can do is you can talk to your plants, and then they'll give you oxygen. And I like when I heard that, I was just like, oh, this hits home.
So that lesson came after the thing.
I mean, a few years after, but that thing was still, in my mind.
So little did you didn't know your dad is like the Dr. Doolittle of plants.
Okay.
Yeah, I
He's like, no, you really,
the point,
you need to talk to the plant. You need to talk to it because you've obviously like ruined it.
Yeah.
So if you talk to it, it'll heal.
Yeah, you're giving it regenerative powers or something.
If that happened today, I would think that Dad would have saw that on a meme and then took it literally or something, like. But yeah, no, I thought Christian. I thought you were going somewhere different with that. I thought you were going to tell him the thing about no video games for a year, but this was much more. This was much more bizarre of punishments.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, what you got?
I've been racking my brain since.
I've never gotten punished ever, so yeah.
No, like a lot of my punishments have been just like video games taken away, being grounded.
The normal stuff that works on normal kids.
Yeah, I've never had to talk to a plant,
They put me in the hole for a week. That was kind of weird. You guys never go to the hole.
I just been, beaten like an immigrant.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What were you gonna say?
A normal one for us, because after the age of like 3 or 4, our dad never really hit it. Like he would kind of.
What? No, it's like when 7,
we were really
8.
Oh, okay, well I guess so. But what I was gonna say was, what he would do, like our normal punishment is back when we were taking kung fu, he would make us dress in kung fu gear and he would make us do kung fu for like 2 hours. That was like a form of punishment for a while.
How's that punishment?
And like
sounds awesome.
Because but not this kind of training.
Oh no. Yeah. So we're sitting in stance. Basically, is what we're doing. Like we're not doing fun shit during the kung fu. We're like sitting a horse stance.
Like drilling. It's like drilling. Like in martial arts,
10 minutes
there's like
or whatever.
Conditioning, then there's like creative application, and then there's like drilling. So we would be drilling for like 2 hours, which wasn't fun. So that was usually more of a normal punishment when he wasn't creative.
I remember there was one time when I think I was 13, 14, maybe 15. I don't know. Somewhere I was either in the end of junior high or the beginning of high school. I think it was the end of junior high. And I don't know. I said something like my mom said something and I made fun of her and I in a really rude way. And my mom storms over and she's like ready to spank me. Right. I'm 13, 14 years old. Right. And so she raises her hand and I actually grab her arm.
Whoa.
Right. And then as that moment, I realized I was 4 inches taller than my mom and had 40 pounds on her. So then I'm like, oh. And so I held her hand with the other arm and I started tickling her. And she's like, what are you doing? And then so I actually picked her up and body slammed her into the bed. And I just started laughing at her like I was wrestling with her. I'm like, ha ha,
what
I'm bigger than you. She's probably thinking, this is not the way this is supposed to happen.
And she's just getting more pissed off, and I'm just dying laughing at some point. And then at the end of it, I was like, hey mom, you can talk to me, right? Oh man,
that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, once I realized how much bigger I was than my mom, and my mom's not small. My mom's 5'6" for a Filipino woman.
But you're huge, dude. You're
just 6 feet tall. 6'3"? But then once I was 5'8" in 8th grade. So yeah, that was and then I think I hit 6 feet in 11th grade. So yeah. That was probably the funniest time. It was when I actually just picked up my mom. when she was trying to punish me.
I think, I don't think. I think our mom wasn't really. I can't ever think of a time that she was like intimidating, and she would say like, "I'm gonna get your dad." Like it was kind of too easy for her to just outsource the punishment to dad.
Oh no, it was my mom and my dad did not defer.
Oh really?
Whoever was pissed, that's who came at me. So it was never, oh, wait till your dad. No, my mom just dispensed it there.
Oh really?
If my dad was pissed, then he would dispense it also.
Double jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh,
Dad, don't worry, Mom already took care of this.
Oh, okay, and then it'd be his turn. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, a lesson learned twice. So
yeah, no, our mom, from my experience, from what I remember, our mom was kind of more of it was like a substitute teacher environment when we were with her, but we always knew that my dad was a phone call away.
Yeah.
So that's how my mom kind of checked us.
Yeah.
So yeah, she had that much going for her. Which
right.
I mean, I don't know if it was planned. I mean, in retrospect, it probably wasn't because none of this parenting stuff is really that planned. There's a plan, and then you just divert away from it whenever it doesn't go right.
I felt like they wielded pretty good control over us, though. Like not like how it is these days when I hear about stories about kids and parents and the power dynamic of kids over their parents.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't think there was much of that shit happening in our household. Maybe until teen years, but then that was Dad just switched it up. He just mellowed out.
I've had this weird thought for the last probably 12 months that a lot of my childhood and like a lot of my upbringing has been really instruction based because like in our household and when we were in school and even like our extracurricular stuff, I felt like my creative juices were never really explored. Like I never opened up the can of creative juice because I was so concentrated on following instructions. And I don't necessarily
being obedient.
Yeah, I think that was more the goal of the time was just kind of here's like somebody like some guardian, some either the parent or the teacher or some role model, somebody that's looking after us was giving us something to do and our goal was to do that. It was never like, okay, not never, but I don't recall. It was very seldom the time when you're like, hey, what do you think you should be doing here? And you should try to do what you think is best for your situation. Like, I think about that.
Mm-hmm. Let's explore, or even,
go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, like, let's explore what your thought process is.
Yeah. So I've done that, like, a lot in my adult life because you have to. But that transition was a really steep learning curve for me. And I think it's because it was such an unexercised muscle that just like remained dormant through all of my childhood. And
see, like the one thing I like with growing up with my parents, like they made it very evident to me early on that they were immigrants in this country, and a lot of the cultural things that me and my brother didn't understand, they also didn't understand. So we had to figure a lot of that stuff out. And so if I would asking my parents for advice on certain things going on, like within school or what's going on, they're like, "That's a good question,"
but they don't answer it or anything.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. That was their answer. They're like,
"Oh, that's a good question.
We don't have advice for you because we don't know how do your friends do it, like how So we had to do that early on. Like there was no instruction there because. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think I don't know if I mentioned this before, but where I grew up in Simi Valley, the population, 65% is white, 30% is Mexican, and then 5% like sprinkle of everything. Mm-hmm. So it's like, the culture is very different. People, I remember going home and I remember telling my Mom, there's a homecoming. What is that? Mm-hmm.
And your mom didn't know either, right?
My mom's like, I've never gone. I don't know.
That's interesting because our immigrants also, and so they also did not have answers to those similar questions that we were asking them. But their response, like your parents' response was, "That's a good question." Our parents' response was, "That's the wrong question." like maybe you should be focused on.
I was thinking to myself that too.
On this other...
Like I never recall hearing like that's a good question. So go ahead, Al.
Yeah, because like my parents would just be like, "You need to figure that out."
Yeah,
like,
and again,
okay.
there was nothing. All of our parents, were just trying to do the best for us and for the family. But like, I guess our parents. What their strategy evolved into was, I don't know the answer to that question. So but here's an answer that I do know. So maybe I'm gonna try to lead you into asking this question instead. You're right, Christian? Is that how you? I don't know.
Was something. Yeah, I mean, let's say if we were to take that example of the homecoming, right? If I were to be like, "Hey, what's homecoming?" And then their answer could be something, instead of saying like that's a good question, they might be like, I don't know, I never went to no homecoming. So it's like,
they're like,
so you're not going to homecoming or whatever,
You mean what's your homework? That's what you're gonna be doing later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like there was just a lot of things where, I remember there was like, I would ask my mom and dad, I'm like, what do I need to learn how to drive? Because I'm 14, 15 years old at this time. And they're like, we don't know. That's a good question. Like, I guess they're like, what does your teacher say? What does the rule, find the booklet, find the driver's manual. Cause they're like, we don't know. You need it. So I remember a lot of my childhood was, if I had any questions, I knew that my parents wouldn't always have the answer. So a lot of times I just looked a lot of that stuff up myself. So I had to become resourceful immediately.
That's a cool trait. It's a cool trait to have. And they probably...
It was unintentional. Like, it's not like my parents, don't get me wrong. It's not like my parents didn't try.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like my parents didn't try to help me, but like, I knew that they were just as new to like this culture as I was.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if
then I'm actually
I was gonna say, I wonder if that trait is like going to become more rare, because the resources available to find any answer is a lot more accessible to anyone now, especially adults.
Oh, Siri and Alexa got it.
Yeah. What's homecoming? They're never going to challenge their kid to go find the answer. Here's the answer.
Yeah. So no, it's I realized that was early on. I realized not so. I'm definitely not wording this right, and I said it in my head. It doesn't sound right, but I'm going to say it anyways. But I'm sure you guys can help me figure out a more eloquent way to say this. I couldn't rely on my parents for answers, and that sounds horrible, but it's not.
Okay, so yeah. Well, no, I have a stab at it. Like, you didn't rely on your parents being like the single authoritative source for everything. So you'd have to reach out and explore other avenues of authority for certain topics or certain things. Whether it be maybe the parents of a friend of yours,
books,
or like a teacher or something, or
like my mom,
or books. Yeah.
I remember. I don't know if you guys remember this. Like, it's a long time ago. At Ralph's, there's a Ralph's next to a supermarket next to our house that was selling volumes of the encyclopedia.
At the grocery store?
Yeah.
At the grocery store?
It was 99 cents for the first volume. Mm-hmm. And then every week they gave you the next volume. And I think it was $10. So then that way you could buy an encyclopedia set from A all the way to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents bought every single one. Like, I think there was 20 different volumes. And you gotta remember, this is before Google. This is before before the internet, right?
Yeah.
So I remember having access to an encyclopedia set, and me and my brother probably went through those like cover to cover, because we're like, we don't know any, like, this is our Google, but it doesn't update, and if it's not in there, it's not in there.
Yeah.
So, but I remember how much of a priority my mom took into making sure that we got every single which was cool, because volume.
I think like one of the side effects was, while you were looking for the answer to your one question, you're also passing through answers to all these other questions, or even creating other questions to then find those answers to. Whereas if she would have just told you the answer, then it's like, okay, learning opportunity gone. Like from that aspect. Yeah, that reminds me of. I remember I was talking to a mutual friend. Actually, we all know this guy, Robin Nelson. I was talking to him, and we were talking about like there was some road that went from Torrance to like a kind of a neighboring city, like Cerritos or Bellflower Downey or something. And then I'm like, yeah, just take this road, and I think it cuts all the way through because I've seen it when I'm in that other city. And he goes, no, it stops like in between, and then for like 3 miles, the road doesn't continue, and then it continues on after that. I'm like, how do you know that? He goes, oh, well, when me and my brother were growing up, we used to study Thomas guides.
Oh, that's the same thing.
Like, that old map that just comes in a book. Yeah, so he's like, yeah, we used to just look at those, and so through that, I just realized, and so it was kind of weird to me, like, what? So when you're bored, you just look at a map, like, oh, someplace that you're not going.
Honestly, I remember one time my parents, like, I don't know if you guys ever had this happen, but like they would drop all the cousins off at one house over the summer, and then they would rotate houses. Like, so I would spend like a week at my Tita Ani's, and then a week at my Tia Tang's, and then a week at with my Uncle Rene, a week with my Uncle Ernie, or whoever was available. They would rotate, so that way all the kids and cousins could hang out. Like, so over summer break, there's like 8 weeks. So then, like, for 6 of those weeks, I was with my cousins, right? And of course, we'd all bring our Nintendos, the original LAN party without the internet. And but I remember my Tia Tang, I think she was studying to become a PA. And I remember when we...
Is that a physician's assistant?
Yeah, physician's assistant. And I remember when she wasn't able to... or when we didn't have the Nintendo there, so all I had was the PA manuals. So all I did was look... I remember all the flow charts of how to diagnose A through like Z. And I would just go through pages and pages and pages. And it's all, I mean, I was like 10 years old, 11 years old. And I'm like, well, there's no TV. There's no Nintendo. Like, I gotta do something.
That's what that reminds me.
So I literally poured through these manuals for like weeks straight. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's how I learned about sex. I found like, because of course, there's like, parts on intercourse. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? I didn't know it was sex until later. Like, I knew what intercourse was, and like, I'm like, oh, good. And then there's diagrams. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, okay, sure. It was clinical for me. It wasn't like naughty. It wasn't forbidden. And I'm like, oh, there it is.
It wasn't intimate, right?
No, it was just, oh, that's what this is.
Yeah. That reminds me of a thing where one time, Grandma Lydia, she babysat.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she babysat me and Christian.
Wait, I just weird that you went from like sexual intercourse
to being
sex to grandma.
Oh, it's not even like grandma.
I was starting the story before you started talking about sex.
It's just Pornhub.
When you're talking about like just being bored and then you kind of just ran into something to do, even though it was not really your interest, but just because it was better than nothing. I remember when we were being babysat and there was nothing to do, and we were being babysat by Grandma Lydia, and we ended up calling 911. Because
I did that. I did that at my dating
but we didn't know, like, because we were really young, like maybe 4 or 5,
like 6, 7,
even younger.
Oh,
and so we didn't.
No, I did
I
that.
don't even think I knew what the phone was
too.
really. And so, but we saw, on all the landline phones back then, it said like, in an emergency, dial 911. So we thought that was like instruction of how to get an open line or something. So we're boop, boop,
like in emergencies, like when you really want to talk to somebody.
This is an emergency. I'm bored. No, so then right, and then like the cops had to come to the apartment or whatever and investigate why some kid was calling 911. But yeah, so that was it. So the boredom can go. It's not always constructive, right?
Oh.
It just goes where it goes, and then that's a seed planted into whatever direction.
Yeah, so that's the you guys are bringing up a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart, and I know like my wife, it's actually probably why she became a librarian. Is because of her thirst for knowledge, and one of her first librarian jobs where she was just an assistant and she was shelving books, if you know, like the Dewey Decimal System, the books are shelved for nonfiction books. The books are shelved by topic, by subject, and then by author of that particular topic. And so it would be her, as she's shelving books, putting books back on the shelf. She's actually pulling other books out of the shelf because they're in the proximity of where she has to work, but they're interesting topics and they're interesting things to think about. And so, and I think maybe she was fascinated by the way things were organized, right? Like if I want to find some information about a certain topic, the library has something. It may not have everything, but it has something on every topic, which is kind of, I think, fascinating. And today's, I guess the equivalent of it is, for me, the closest thing to it is YouTube or YouTube's a good example where you can go into these YouTube black holes because you're watching a video, but then you have things like recommended or related or things like that. And that is a digital equivalent of that other books on the bookshelf type thing. What's
even like referencing if you're listening to a podcast or something, or if you're a regular book, it'll reference like some other piece of literature. Like, oh, this came from this article or whatever. I'll do that when I'm reading ESPN articles sometimes. Like they'll say, oh, back in this article they reference this, but then there'll be a link to click on the other article, and then I'll read through that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they'll say something like, they'll be like doing like a special on Kobe Bryant, and they'll be like, oh yeah, and then when Kobe said this, and it's a hyperlink.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's an article to something else he said, and you're just like, oh shit.
But awesome.
I'm not, yeah, but yeah.
That's how I think that's how we gain our breadth of knowledge is through those dives, or not dives, but like those kind of browsing. It's really what it is, right? So if browsing, it gives you kind of like, if you can imagine a diagram, like you're getting a breadth of knowledge, so it's wide. And then diving is when you're actually going deep into something. And so like...
Yeah, because it's an indicator of what you're truly interested in.
Right.
Because there are going to be some hyperlinks that I don't click on. I'm like, yeah, okay, there's a link there, but I guess I'm not interested enough to explore that little rabbit hole.
Right. Well, I think we fall in love with specialized knowledge a little too much now, and we lose out on that browsing facility, the ability
common sense,
the common knowledge, common sense sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I'll admit I'm pretty dependent on my phone, or let's say the GPS functionality of it to be where I might not even know my own city because I'm using the GPS to just go everywhere.
I know.
So I know how to get to specific places, that sort of thing. Right.
Yeah. But as a traveling nurse, like I will use GPS to get around, but typically I only need to use it once. Like, oh, I need to see Mrs. Jones again, then I know exactly how to get there, because you learn the layout of the city, you learn the major landmarks within each city, and like they had me covering 60 miles. So like I might drive through about a dozen cities, and I'm going to have to know which patients are there. That's all without going through GPS at all. So, I could plan out my day just by remembering where to go.
I think for some people, like it sounds like for you, Paul, you can use a GPS but still be learning the route in the area as you're using the GPS. Where for some other people, I think they just blindly follow the line. And then,
that's my wife.
And, I equate that to, because even before GPS, it would be like, hey, let's convoy here. Oh, follow me, right? And then like you're following somebody else to get to some place, but they don't know how to get back. Like, look, you drove here too. Like, I feel like if I followed you somewhere, like within reason, another like someplace within 20 or 30 miles, if I followed you anywhere, I could probably find my way back from there because I'm also learning the route as I'm following you. But for some other people, they might just be like a passenger in the car, like a metaphoric passenger, where they're like, look, you're the one that led me here, so I don't really know how to get back. Like, are you kidding me? You didn't know that we went west? Yeah. Or like that we took this freeway? Or,
Oh yeah, no, that's that drives me bonkers. But I understand that like a sense of direction necessarily isn't, that's not a strength for a lot of people.
Well,
I mean,
Go ahead.
The thing I was going to add to that, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, is what I'm doing when I'm doing that sort of stuff is I'm kind of augmenting my knowledge or my mental bandwidth and saying like, I'm not gonna worry about this. I'm gonna let this technology worry about this thing so that I can
I was gonna say something
focus
similar
on something else.
Yeah,
so
because
that I can intentionally not.
I feel like
go ahead.
With Paul and usually with me too, I am curious about the path and I am curious about the space because I do want to learn that part of the area. But for people that don't learn that part, I don't think that it means they're not learning something. Like they're probably focused on something else or they're curious about something else during that time.
The alarming thing for me though is not doing that shows me how present you are.
It can. I can.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because like for me, like call me paranoid, but if something happens and I need to walk home, and I don't have my phone, like I know that I can rely on my sense of direction and what I've gathered during my trip so far to get back. Like I said, that's me being paranoid. Like I do that because I feel like if something were to happen to where I don't have technology, like I actually convinced a buddy of mine who's a Boy Scout to teach me how to build a fire. Yeah, because I'm like, what happens if electricity goes down and I need to either eat or I need to get warm?
Interesting.
You know, like I know that sounds paranoid and to show how paranoid I am, knowing that I know I know how to build a fire, I still keep lighters, like big sticks.
But like, think about this though. Let's say that the other type of person that didn't learn the route, didn't learn how to get home, didn't learn how to build a fire. Let's say they do find themselves in that situation. I feel like that situation would be the most efficient way they would learn that skill. Like, let's say that Boy Scout never taught you how to build a fire, and you're in a situation where you needed one. Like, I feel like your survival instincts would teach you how to survive, whether it's to learn how to build a fire or to learn how to find warmth or to learn how to survive, right?
Right. No, you're see, but for me, I've always valued, hey, if I've done it once before, then I know I don't have to worry about learning it later. I'm going to take
me,
stock
like,
in that
to
now.
Use a jiu-jitsu analogy a little bit, I feel like it's kind of the same as like learning how to defend against like a certain submission or a certain sweep before you have to learn it through having it done to you. Right? Like
that or learning the submission.
But this from a defensive mindset, it's like let's see. Like let's say I got to keep both arms inside the person's legs in order to prevent the triangle, right? One way is just to be taught it through the fundamentals class. Hey, either both arms out or both arms in. Another way is to get triangled.
Yeah.
And then to say, all right, hell, next time I'm going to keep this other arm in. You know what I'm
saying? And for me, being paranoid, I don't want there to be a next time this happens. I just want to be prepared. I want to be prepared.
And that's
so.
It sounds like what I'm hearing from you, Paul, is fundamentally the debate is between whether you're going to be sort of a jack of all trades, so you want to learn as much as you can in a very basic sense, or if you're going to have really specialized knowledge in one area, but in order to do that, you're going to sacrifice even common knowledge in a bunch of other areas. To which my feeling is that I think there's got to be some balance of that. Because I don't know if the specialized, if you're too specialized, then you're kind of like an idiot savant.
You're like, I can do brain surgery, but I can't tie my shoes.
I can do brain surgery.
That's extreme.
I get what you're trying to say,
but I understand that there has to be some kind of balance there, and it's one of those things where, after being in the military and knowing the different environments I could possibly be exposed to, I want that the breadth of knowledge. I want a very wide breadth of knowledge, you know, and knowing that it's wide lets me, knowing that how wide it's gotten since, you know, in my old age of 36, you know, I know I can apply that to other new things I can pick up. I know I can pick things up.
That is a skill actually, is the ability to not have a fear of new things, because you're like, well, here's a lot of other skills that I've picked up in my journey, in my life journey. And so my ability to pick things up is something that is a muscle I can rely on.
Right.
Which is good.
So, but like, and see, for me, like the challenge is like, can I anticipate a situation to where I will be stuck? And if I can learn how to unstick it before I get stuck, I've already won.
Okay, Al, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that, first of all, I think that when you use the word paranoia, I would call that preparation. To me, they're similar things. They just call it, you know, you just use two words to describe the same thing.
Paranoia is like to a negative,
it's a negative connotation.
Yeah, but to me, it's like, so I don't think of it as a negative trait. Not in the ones, not for someone that was interested in building a fire if they might need it. I don't. To me, that's not negative. But anyway, I was going to say, the idea of knowing that stuff, I feel like it makes me question, do you think that, like, do you believe that you are capable of preventing the next time in, like, every conceivable situation or every reasonable situation?
No, but, like, I think, but, so knowing how to unstick will also show me, like, if shitty situation A occurs from steps 1, 2, 3, 1, avoid step 1. 2, don't let step 2 happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are my biggest, like, that's my thing. Like, once I see shitty situations, I'm like, hey, why don't I just avoid that situation altogether? That's like, you know, common martial arts stuff. Don't stand where you can get hit.
Then another martial arts one I was going to say was, if you're, the more you know about how to fight, the less likely you are to be in a fight.
Right. Because you know it's never good.
Because you're not going to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, just don't put yourself in that situation. But, like, so, you know, I can't imagine the circumstances that have to be so dire to where I have to actually build a fire without using a lighter. I keep a lighter, but I am prepared to do that just in case that lighter doesn't work.
Do you also keep do you also keep an umbrella all the time, or like?
I have a poncho and an emergency blanket.
I think I get what Alan may be getting at, or what you were leading me to think as well, is that there is a cost to that mindset, and the cost is that there will probably be a fair number of things that you will learn that you may only get one use out of or no uses out of. And so therefore one could argue, is that worth your investment to learn those things? Or you know, go ahead.
That investment has led to, for me, greater peace of mind. Because knowing how unpredictable life and this world could be, the more things that I have prepared for, the less things I have to worry about.
So it's funny that Alan mentions an umbrella, because it's like an umbrella for me is like insurance, and that's essentially what this is for you. Like, it's like knowledge insurance.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Al. Sorry, I cut you off.
Because I also think, to add to what you were saying, Paul, about being prepared for, like, what life might throw at you, I think it's also being prepared for what your life might throw at you, like the type of life that it seems like you're leading. What, you know, like, as far as traveling a lot and kind of being on your own and being an explorer and putting yourself in, like, certain situations, like, it's a much more adventurous life. But to like, one of the things that comes along with the adventurous part is exposing yourself to certain, like, unorthodox hazards that you might need to be prepared for, right? Like, it might be like a 1% chance that I might need to build a fire without a lighter, but for you, it might be like a 5% chance or a 10% chance because of these certain situations that your life is built around, right? And
No,
Right.
you're right. Like, so for instance, today, so I was going to tell, I cut myself off while talking to Christian earlier because I wanted to get to this. Something new. I bought a new camera body. I dropped quite a pretty penny for this camera body. It's a pretty substantial body. Does a lot of cool shit. It's going to move me up in photography quite a bit. But the thing is it has 2 memory card slots, and anything I do where I get paid money to shoot photography, I always have 2 memory slots. And whenever I pull the trigger on my camera or I release the shutter, it writes those 2 image files. It writes the image file into 2 different cards, into the main and the backup. Right. Now the thing is this camera is brand new. It's top of the line kind of stuff. So it uses a higher standard of memory card. Right. So it uses an XQD card. An XQD card is a different kind of format. It's not like the SD cards, the standard little chip. Right. You guys, for your cameras, if you decide to use a camera, an SD card will be just fine, right? I can't get a standard SD card, right? I have to get a SD card that's going to handle the speed of this camera, right? But so I have to get an XQD card, which is the first slot, and then I have to get an SD card, a specialized SD card for the second slot. However, in my experience, if I only buy one set, one will fail.
What do you mean? One of the 2? You mean one of the 2 cards?
One of the 2 cards.
Is that just kind of like a Murphy's Law type thing?
And the thing is, I don't know about you, man, but I was always taught in the military, everything fails. Have a backup. 2 is 1, 1 is none. Right? Did you not?
So you can do that, but you also have to acknowledge that is the most costly option.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It's that peace of mind. So what did I do when I bought this new body? I have memory cards, but again, they're not up. They don't support shooting with them. Kind of, that's like putting a V4 into like an Escalade.
It defeats the purpose almost of having the new body. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So these memory cards, like one memory card is $250.
It's a lot.
I had to buy 4 memory cards.
So, I think you're getting at something here, though, which is to say that when there's a total cost of ownership deal. Like when you consider buying something like a camera body, in order to use it properly, you have to insure it properly, or you have to put the proper amount of investment into it.
So this is what drives me crazy. Is I'll watch photographers go into a wedding with 1 camera body. And 1 memory card. Yeah,
so they're playing on a much different risk profile than you.
For the amount of money I charge for an event or wedding, that's not allowed to happen.
Maybe that is what allows you to command the rates that you charge.
No, it does.
Yeah.
No, it does. But so for me, I imagine. Again, this is, you can call it paranoid if you want. I imagine the worst possible scenarios. So, and I have to safeguard against those steps as much as possible. So
I don't think that's I think we could consider that a best practice, but really more than that, what I'm hearing is that is congruent to like just your personality, your brand of photography. Like that is part of what you bring to the table then. And it's what you're most comfortable with.
Do you guys carry EDC kits?
No, because I don't even know what that is. So
okay, so there's a community. There's a community online. It's EDC. It's everyday carry.
Everyday carry. It sounds like guns. I don't know.
It can be. So
is it like a standard thing for everyone, or does everyone have their own stuff?
Like, so I have my own EDC. There's actually a website, everydaycarry.com. I'm on there a lot. Not me personally, but I'm looking at different stuff.
I'm gonna look.
So you're talking about like my phone and my wallet and my keys? Could that be my EDC or?
That's your ED. That's by definition. That is your what you carry with you every day.
Yeah.
I actually have a backpack for my EDC.
Okay, I didn't know this was an official term, but that's cool. I guess I could say I have an EDC. It is my wallet. I could tell by pocket, right? Like my wallet, my car keys, my cell phone, my work badge.
Let me ask you.
My laptop.
So in my EDC, not only do I have a Swiss Army knife, but I also have a real knife, and then I also have a multi-tool.
Yeah, I don't have any of that stuff, but that's based on my trade, I think. I don't know if Alan might have any of that stuff.
It's not something I carry every day, no. Like mine is just the three: the wallet and the phone and the keys. And my wallet, sometimes I don't even have cash in it. It's really more my driver's license and my credit card.
Don't you have like a flashlight thing or no?
Me?
Yeah. Why did I think you had a flashlight?
Not that I carry every day. On my phone, I have one, like everyone does.
Okay. I guess I was thinking more for workwear. So.
Oh yeah, workwear. I have a bunch of crap that like my
would
ID,
that not count as the EDC?
Well, I guess yeah. Well, to me, those are hard hat, work boots, a Sharpie, a flashlight. Yeah,
that's a work kit. But like, I carry this backpack with me even when I travel, if it allows. Like, there's a part of my EDC that's like in my backpack that I take out of my bag if I'm flying.
Oh yeah, I don't have anything like that.
Like it's like, so my EDC, I actually have underwear, socks, I have flashlights, I have glow sticks, I have batteries, I have rechargeable batteries, I have usually I keep my wallet, my keys, which my keys has my Swiss Army knife. But then I also have like a pencil. It's like a not mechanical pencil. It's in the form of a pencil, but it has screwdriver tips in it.
So, okay. I'm trying to figure out. I think I'm getting. I think I know where you're going with this. Does that have anything to do with like what other people should have, or like is the point you're trying to make more about like your preparedness relative to other people's preparedness, or what's your
no? There's no should.
There?
There's no should because everybody's EDC depends on what they will encounter, right? Like I call it my EDC because I take it to work. But then, like when I go out into the town with Tiana, I also carry that. You know, I carry I have an EDC bag to carry a lot of the essentials. But if I know where I'm going, certain places, I still carry certain things. I always try to make sure I have certain things on me. So when shit happens, I'm ready.
Do you How does complacency come into play for you as far as like everyday scenarios? Because it sounds like you're usually. I hate to use the word always, but it sounds like you're pretty much always ready. But then doesn't that mean that
it's a boot camp term, right? Always ready.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. That was unintentional. No, but I mean, like, do you ever encounter scenarios where, like you're not ready, even though you meant to be prepared for everything? Some curveball comes at one day.
Yeah, there's this one time I need to make a fire, but no.
No, you understand my question though? Like,
yeah, I get it. Have I ever like been surprised with stuff? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there has been, and you know those drive. I understand that kind of shit it's life. That's what happens. But you try to evaluate how you got to that position. 2, you have to see how those steps like lined up.
I had 2 kids. That's how I got to that position. Go ahead, Paul.
But like, it's one of those things where, like there have been tools I've bought that I'm like, I can see myself using this in a situation that's not going to be very. This tool isn't so specialized. Like this tool will cover a lot of scenarios I can imagine in my head, it's not so specialized where there's only one use for this.
Okay. That's where I was going with it because, yeah, some of the stuff it sounds like you carry. I feel like if I carried it, there might be such a small window that I would need to use it that even if that window came up, I might forget that I had the thing. Like,
oh no, you don't forget that kind of stuff.
So, can I pitch an alternative to you in terms of, because we're talking about preparedness here, and really what that means is it doesn't necessarily mean having the stuff, in my opinion, because I think to kind of flip it on you a little bit, I think the way I do it is as long as I have access to the stuff, then I would feel basically as prepared as a person who has this stuff.
As owning it, right? Access and owning it are kind of...
Right. So, for example, I do not pack, when I travel,
Toothbrush.
I do not pack a deodorant because it's over the freaking 3-ounce thing or whatever, typically. And so...
The hotel has one.
Yeah, either that or I'm just going to end up going to a Target at the place where I land, and then I will get that stuff.
You want to know a secret?
Go ahead.
I stopped using deodorant in the military.
Okay. Thanks for the hard left. That wasn't my point, but I got you. So that is not in your EDC, right? Like,
no. Not
what if somebody needs a deodorant? Like, what if there's a deodorant needing situation?
Can't call me.
Oh, my EDC kit actually has like a small vanity bag, so it has shampoo, toothbrush, toothpaste, like travel size ones, and it's all inside.
So quickly,
like,
what's with
pack.
the deodorant? I feel like there's more to the story why you stopped using it since the military.
I stopped using it because I found that it never worked. Like, I'd use antiperspirant, I'd still sweat. I'm like, what the fuck? And then, like, and another thing is, like, deodorant smells good, right? Because it's supposed to mask your smell, right? I'm like, why wouldn't if I smell, I'm just gonna take a shower. I'm not gonna rely on deodorant. Like, if I take 3 showers in a day, I'll take 3 showers.
I don't think of deodorant that way. I think of it as delaying the release of your smell.
But that's the thing is, like, when I sweat. So with girlfriends in the past, I would test them. I would be like, do you know what deodorant I'm wearing right now? And they would be like, oh, yeah, it's this one. I'm like, I'm not wearing deodorant. None of my girlfriends, and even my wife. Like, my wife was like, you don't wear deodorant? I'm like, I do. What do you mean? She's like, oh, it's just you haven't bought any. I'm like, yeah.
And I haven't for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I said, the moment I start to sweat, I just hop in the shower.
That's cool if your work allows that, or you're like the scenarios that you're in allow for that.
Well, here's another. Okay, so you want to talk about prepared? It's like, so what are situations where you would be sweating like that?
I don't know. If your friend just broke his ankle and you got a lot of the paramedics,
Hey, Alan, can you explain what's going on? I'm in the shower. As soon as I get out of the shower, I'll explain how my friend broke his ankle.
I gotta go take a shower right now. I'm sorry.
I gotta go take a shower real quick, Dad. I'll be back. Yeah. You might hand me that plant.
Some carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
You practice my speech.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the preparedness, I think whether it's physical things or whether it's knowledge, I do think that being a worldly gentleman, if you will, is something to be desired, and it can be accomplished in various ways.
So, question for you guys.
Sure.
So, do you guys have an EDC kit in your car? Do you have an emergency kit in your car?
If the answer to the first one was no, then if we didn't even know what it was, then I don't think we have one in the car. I remember
the only thing I have in my car is a jump starter in case my battery dies, and then in the car itself, which most cars do, I think, you just have a jack with the spare tire sort of thing.
So I would.
But no flares or no cones though or anything.
So I went to Costco and they had a thing. It was like $29. It was jumper cables, like emergency triangles, I think, flashlight, headlamp, gloves, poncho, all that other fun stuff. In case you have to do stuff in the rain, because it rains so much in California. But it's an emergency kit, and I can't tell you how many times I've had to use it.
Well, the fact that you've had to use it, and I'm glad that you have it there, but
did you have to use it because you had it with you? Because I can't tell you how many times I haven't had to use one that I don't have.
No, and that's the issue, is I've had to use it for other people who needed it. Like, I can't tell you how many times people have approached me, excuse me, do you have this, and that, because I'm stuck, and I'm like, I do.
Oh, yeah, I don't help them. Because I can't.
not because you're a dick, but just because you can't, right?
You're like,
oh no, man.
Hey man, do you have jumper cables? You're like, yep. See ya.
I'm surprised, Paul, that you don't have a pickup truck. Oh, maybe you do, but I don't know. Because a pickup truck, I feel like people who own pickup trucks, unless they work in construction. The reason they tend to own pickup trucks, is so that
somebody don't have a helicopter license.
That's actually the reason why I don't have it pick up, because then I know what happens. People go. It happens a lot. If I on my Facebook, like, does anybody have a truck I can use?
So Alan then just gave you a pro tip on how you can reduce the number of emergency situations you can contribute to, which is don't have that EDC for your car.
Oh no! Like, I don't tell people I have what I have in my backpack. Like I said, a lot of times, like I said, the vanity kit. But
if you look like a freaking army ranger when you walk out of the door, then they probably know you have an EDC.
No, I just tell them it's got my water bottle on my laptop.
Interesting. Before you said the thing about the Costco kit, I was thinking about so in the NBA, when we were watching the '90s, I used to remember this. You remember Eddie Jones? Played for the Lakers for a little while.
Oh yeah, from Temple.
Yeah, that's right. So one of the things I remembered about him is whenever he would play, there were no sweatbands on his wrists. There was no knee guards on his. It was just basically his. He just woke up in his uniform, put some shoes on, and went to go play. Is what he looked like. Like other players, they got the goggles on, they got the headband, they got the wristband, they got the arm sleeve, they got all this stuff on. And for Eddie Jones, it was like he would just go into the backyard to shoot hoops. The backyard just happened to be the Great Western Forum. So in his case, as far as the just in case stuff, if he was sweating, he just wasn't using the sweatband to wipe his sweat because he didn't have it. I don't think he was less prepared. And also I don't discredit the people who do have that stuff, because Hakeem was one of my favorite players. He had 2 knee pads, 2 wristbands, he was. In my mind, at the time, he was on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Oh man, I totally get it. Look, it's a matter of preference. I like having that stuff on me because, like I said, there'll be times where I find myself in situations where it's handy.
Yeah.
And if there's something in my bag that saves me a minute, that's a minute that I get back.
Well, what's funny is I feel like say the guys that you help, one of them could have been Christian, because he would just have access to that stuff because he knows you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I don't. That's I don't. The whole ideas.
How many times have you helped me move, Paul? There's the access. Got it. Nailed it.
I don't need a screwdriver. Paul's got one.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, and I'll admit that probably is not fair for you.
Oh, and I don't, like I said, you're an exception, but there's a lot of times where people have asked me for stuff, and I'm just like, no, I don't have it.
Well, what I think,
there's no reciprocation there.
What I think is cool is,
sure, that's fair.
I once read something about Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell, that it sounds like, Paul, I feel like you're doing something that he said he does, and somebody asked him what made your Celtics so great? How come you were always winning and stuff? And he said what he used to do is he would scout his own team, and he would look for weaknesses in the Celtics, and whatever weaknesses they had, and then he would tailor his game to try to make up for those weaknesses. Yeah, and so his game evolved based on what he thought the weaknesses for his team was. And for Paul, I think one of the things that you might unintentionally be doing is seeing that you or the important people around you might need to get through some situations where you could help them through or yourself through, because through your observation, there are situations that it'd be much more difficult to get out of without the help that you provide.
Sure.
And that's also very consistent with the that is the main strength of the jack of all trades kind of archetype or type or whatever is that by being jack of all trades, they could say jack of all trades, master of none, but I'll just say jack of all trades. By being jack of all trades, it allows you to be able to fill in those gaps. If let's say you're in a team atmosphere, it allows you to fill in those gaps that your team doesn't have.
So Christian, remember how I asked you what position that one character was in Heroes of the Storm?
Yes.
So in League of Legends, there's typically 5 positions.
Okay.
Ask me which ones I play.
Which ones do you play, Paul? Softball.
All 5.
Yeah.
Depending on who I'm playing with, I can fill in wherever I need to fill in.
Yep.
Am I great at any one particular role? No.
Right.
But I'm serviceable in all of them.
Yep. This is can we charge you $150 for this therapy session or psychoanalysis? We've got you figured out to some degree. Yeah. No, it's very cool.
I can't, I was at work, I work as a nurse. I'm in an office environment, clinical environment too. Mm-hmm. But the printer stopped working, right? And I'm like, okay, well, we need documents for the charts and stuff. We kind of are on hold here. So they called engineering to find someone to fix the printer. And so while they were dialing up the engineering and trying to find this, I took out one of the flashlights out of my EDC, found the problem, grabbed some long nose pliers, got rid of the jam, reset everything. Oh, by the way, I had to unscrew part of the printer, but I have the screwdriver set in my EDC as well. So I took apart the printer, got rid of the jam, put it back together, and was done before engineering showed back up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
See, it's stuff like that. I'm like, I'd rather not rely on other people to get me out of jams.
Sure. I think that's there's a spectrum, and so on the other end of that spectrum is somebody who is expert at knowing just who their EDC is other people, and knowing the right person to leverage in that situation.
That's true.
I'm not saying it's good, by the way, or bad. I'm not making a judgment on it. I'm just saying it's
no. It makes it. I think it makes it that you're a good guy to know in certain situations.
Yeah, in certain situations.
Yeah. I didn't mean it like that. And in other situations, you're a terrible guy to know.
Yeah, I'd rather you not be there for other situations. There's definitely other people I'd call for that one.
I could think of your your WWE exaggerated character would be the guy that can fix anything, but if you ask him to fix something and he actually can't fix it, he would just freak the fuck out and not know where else to go and just implode on you.
That or he's just a gigantic asshole.
Yeah.
You just don't he can fix anything you give him, but then you just don't want to be around.
I wonder how many scenarios needed your EDC, exactly. But they're like, dude, get Paul. He's got that thing in his backpack. Nah, I don't want Paul here.
Yeah. You said Paul, right?
I'd rather it be cold. I don't want the.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to make a fire. Don't worry. We'll never hear the end of this.
Oh my gosh. I think that's a good note to end on. So, any parting? And no, actually, no parting thoughts. I'm going to end it for us right there. But it's
yeah.
It was a good sesh though.
Now that we've stopped the recording, what was that fucker's name?